guys, I apologize that I could not be there with you today, but I wanted to take this time to go over some tips and tricks that you can use on your Regents exam next week. Before we get into that, I first just want to remind you guys that I will be holding a review for your Regents exam right before the Regents on Wednesday in my classroom. I will post the time, date, and room on Google Classroom, so please look for that, okay? I highly suggest that you guys attend this Regents review as I will be going over the calculator, I will be going over important vocabulary, I will be going over tips and tricks, and I will be going over the big concepts right beforehand. So please make every effort to attend, and I will have some snacks for you as well, okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over some tips and tricks quickly on using the calculator. You are then going to get a worksheet that allows you to practice some of those tips and tricks. You're going to try your absolute hardest on this worksheet, and when the substitute or Mrs. Varian or Mrs. O'Grady feels that you have tried all the problems and you've done your absolute best, you will then watch video 2, in which I will go over how to solve those problems, okay? But I want you to try them on your own first using the tips and tricks that I'm going to go over in this video right now. So your calculator is going to be your best friend on that Regents exam. Remember, if they ask if an equation, if they're equal to each other, if functions are equal to each other, they ask any of those questions. If things are equal to each other, graph them. If they're equal, their graphs are going to be the same. So graph things. See if graphing things will help you, okay? What I want to go over first with you guys is, well, let's go over graphing, okay? So go to a new document, and everybody should have a calculator in their hand right now. If you go to add a graph, you can graph any type of function that they give us. I don't care if it's an absolute value function. I don't care if it's a square root function. You hit the little box that's next to the number 9, it brings up every type of function that we could possibly need, okay? So let's do the absolute value function, which we have not gone over yet. Okay, I type in x plus 9. I'm going to change my scale here, make that -20. We have never graphed something like that. Who cares? You guys can do it. Put it in your calculator, hit Control-T, and graph the points in your calculator. Graph the ones that you can graph, okay? So any function they give you guys, you can use your calculator for. Just hit the number, or I'm sorry, the box next to the 9, and it will bring up everything you could possibly need. Now remember, when we graph inequalities, so let me go to a new graph here. Don't save, add a graph. We have to graph them as a line first. And then you can change it to an inequality, and it will tell you what the shading should look like. It will tell you what the line should look like. Okay, so say I do less than, enter. Okay, so it tells me the inequality should be shaded below the line with a dotted line. Unfortunately, if you try to hit Control-T, it tells you that there's nothing to graph. Okay, so you have to graph it as a line first, then check it. Put it in as an inequality and see, is it dashed, and where is the shading? Those I am expecting that you guys do really well on. We've done really great work with graphing this year and last year, and I anticipate that you will on the Regents exam as well. Okay? Remember, you can use colored pencils on the Regents exam. You just have to ask for them. All right, let's jump to the calculator part. So go to a new document, add a calculator. First thing I want to go over with you guys, if you are given an equation and it's multiple choice, you can simply plug in the values for x and type in the entire equation, and it will tell you if the answers are true or false. If it's false, that is not the answer. If it's true, it is the answer. Okay, that's multiple choice only. Short answer, if they tell you to show your work, you have to show your work. Now, another trick you can use to solve equations is if you hit Menu, Algebra, Numerical Solve. Remember, I have a few more things here, you guys, because I do have the teacher version. And type in the equation exactly the way you see it. So I'm going to do one with a fraction here. And I'm going to type in 1/2 parenthesis x plus 9. Let's do 8 actually. Equals 30. Remember, you do have to do comma x because it tells your calculator what you're solving for. Okay? Hit enter, and x is 52. So that is another way that you can solve a multiple choice question. That's an equation without actually having to do some math out. And remember, multiple choice, you're right or wrong. Okay? Another tip that you can use on your Regis exam is solving systems of equations using your calculator. And how do we do that? Well, we go to Menu, again to Algebra, Solve Systems of Equations. We're always working with two equations and leave it as x and y. So I'm just going to put in two equations here. 3x minus 9 equals 12. And 4x plus 6 equals 30. And again, they would give you the equations or you would have done them yourself. So I'm just making these up. So it tells me I'm solving for x and for y. Oh, and it says false. Okay. That's probably because I made numbers that don't actually work. So let's try to pick some numbers that will work here. My apologies. I'm making them up on the fly. So 2x plus 4 equals 10. And 3x plus 2 equals, let's do 11. So this tells you that x equals 3 and y equals, ignore that. The y is just, oh, that's because I forgot to put a y in. That's my fault. But you do have to put an x and you do have to put a y. But that is how you would solve systems of equations, okay? So my apologies there. I did forget to put in, should have been 4y and 2y. And it would have gave you your y value for the equation. Okay, so we've gone over graphing, we've gone over equations, we've gone over systems of equations. The last thing I want to go over with you guys before you start your worksheet is statistics. So if you remember, for statistics, let's go to a list in the spreadsheet. I'm going to put some random data in. I apologize if these numbers aren't working. I am just making them up as we go here. So I have my data in. I hit Menu. I hit Statistics. I hit Stat Calculations. If you guys have to write linear regression equations, you will be given two sets of data. Use choice 3. It literally says linear regression, mx plus b. If it says find the line of best fit, use the linear regression, mx plus b. If it says write a linear equation, put the data in your calculator and do y equals mx plus b. If it says do an exponential regression, you would choose A there. Okay. Now, I do want to go over with you the one variable statistics here. So let me just pick. Perfect. Okay. So here, mean, x with the line over it, that is 5.666666666. Okay. Standard deviation tells us how varied or how different our data is. SX stands for sample standard deviation. Sideways P of X stands for population standard deviation. Remember, the bigger this is, the more varied our data is. If it does not say to use standard sample standard deviation or population standard deviation, use whatever one you want. the box plot, you need the 5-number summary, which are these 5 numbers right here that literally go right in order. Could not be any simpler. Min, Q1, median, Q3, max. Okay, that's your 5-number summary. I do want to go over an exponential regression equation with you guys, so let's go to a new document. Not safe. Let's add a graph. Oh, I'm sorry, not a graph. Let's add data and statistics. Listen, spreadsheet. Geez. And let me just put some random data in here. So 8, 9, 6, 4, D, 12. Okay, totally just made all that data up. I'm going to name them X and Y. Get out of that. So, menu, statistics, stat calculations. I want to try an exponential regression equation. If they ask you to write an exponential equation, easy. We can do it right in our calculator. So, X, Y. Okay, and it's Y equals A times B, and B has an exponent of X. Gives you your A, gives you your B. If you remember, your correlation coefficient is your R value, not your R squared, R value. We have never done anything with R squared, so don't use it, okay? R value. The closer it is to 1 or -1, the stronger the relationship. This one is kind of on the fence, and they probably would not give you one that's so iffy on the Regents exam. Okay, so stronger the relationship, the closer R is to 1 or -1. I think that's all the tips and tricks that I have for you right now. If you have any questions, please, please, please email me. Any questions, comments, or concerns, okay? Please make your best attempt to attend the Regents review right before the Regents on Wednesday. And also, please check out Google Classroom. I will be posting old Regents exams with the answers to help you practice. That's the best way for you to practice for that exam on Wednesday. I hope you guys have a great day. What you're going to do now is you're going to work on a worksheet with solving some of the problems that you can use a tip and a trick for that I went over in this video. So I want you to work on that worksheet by yourself. Computers can go away. When the substitute or Mrs. O'Grady or Mrs. Varian feel that you have tried every single problem thoroughly and you show them, you can then watch video number 2, which is also on Google Classroom. All right, I will see you guys in video 2.